Hi everyone, welcome back to Buying Better. Today we are starting a topic that almost everyone in business deals with, often every single day, even if they do not call it by this name. Supplier Relationship Management. It shows up in delays, in frustrations, in work that feels harder than it should. Over the next chapters, we are going to break this topic down in a practical way, not as theory, but as something you can actually recognize and learn how to better handle those situations in your day-to-day operations. In this first chapter, we are setting the foundation, what supplier relationship management really means, and why it matters more than most organizations realize. To understand why this topic matters, it helps to look at how most supplier issues actually begin. They rarely start with something going wrong. There is no big failure, no obvious mistake. Instead, everything appears to be working, at least on the surface. Behind that surface, small assumptions begin to form. Expectations are not revisited. Changes are not clearly communicated. Roles slowly blur. No one flags it, because nothing feels urgent yet. Work continues. Deliverables still arrive. And that creates a sense that everything is fine. But over time, those small gaps start to matter. Extra follow-ups appear. Simple requests take longer. Friction becomes normal. That is where supplier relationship management comes in. This series is about learning to see those patterns early and addressing what is happening beneath the surface before cost and frustration make it visible. To make this more concrete, think about how different supplier relationships actually feel in practice. On paper, two suppliers might look identical. Same service, similar contracts, comparable pricing, yet the experience of working with them can be very different. One supplier feels easy to work with. Questions get answered quickly. Issues are resolved without tension. Conversations feel straightforward. The other feels heavy. Every request needs justification. Small changes take time. Communication feels effortful. What is important to notice here is that the difference is rarely technical. In most cases, both suppliers are capable. Both meet requirements. Both want to perform well. The real difference is not competence. It is how the relationship has been shaped over time. What has been discussed? What has been left unsaid? What behavior is encouraged or discouraged? Supplier relationship management is the discipline of shaping that experience intentionally. It is about deciding how collaboration will work before pressure forces the answer. When this is done well, work flows more naturally. When it is not, even simple interactions become harder than they need to be. And that is where the real cost begins. To see how this plays out, let's look at a situation many teams recognize. Work is being delivered. Quality is acceptable. Timelines are technically met. Yet the experience feels fragile. Any small change creates stress. Urgent requests become frequent. Something feels off, even though nothing is clearly broken. What is happening here is often a lack of shared context. The supplier is doing exactly what was agreed, but they do not see demand patterns. They do not see what happens downstream when timing shifts. They do not see the pressure on internal teams. So decisions are made in isolation, optimizing for schedules rather than continuity. Over time, this creates a cycle. Internal teams react. Suppliers respond cautiously. Buffers grow. Costs rise quietly, not because anyone is inefficient, but because the relationship was never designed to handle variation. Supplier relationship management changes this by making context part of the relationship. Expectations are revisited. Signals are agreed. Constraints are discussed openly. The same supplier begins to feel more reliable, not because they changed, but because the environment around them did. This pattern also appears in much smaller interactions. A request fits policy. It follows process. It sits within the agreed scope. But a minor adjustment is needed. Something reasonable. Something common. Whereas, in a transactional environment, that adjustment feels risky. The supplier hesitates, not because they cannot help, but because flexibility has unclear consequences. Supplier relationship management removes that uncertainty by clarifying where judgment is encouraged and where alignment is required. Now let's look at a situation where the impact is less visible, but far more costly over time. Several suppliers are involved in ongoing work. Each delivers their piece. Each meets expectations. On the surface, everything appears to be moving forward. Behind the scenes, suppliers begin to notice things. Duplicate effort, unnecessary steps, risks that have not been discussed. They could raise these observations, but they pause, not because they do not care, but because there is no clear signal that insight is welcome. In a transactional setup, going beyond scope carries little upside. Raising issues can feel risky. Silence feels safer. So valuable knowledge stays contained, even when it could prevent future problems. This is not a people issue. It is a system issue. Months later, issues surface. Schedules slip. Extra approvals are required. Costs increase. Leadership asks how this was missed. The reality is, it was seen early. It just never had a path forward. At its core, supplier relationship management is about alignment, clear expectations, shared understanding, mutual accountability. It is not about being soft. It is about being deliberate. Strong supplier relationships are designed, not assumed. When supplier relationship management is in place, problems surface earlier. Suppliers bring ideas instead of excuses. Work flows more smoothly. In the next chapter, we will explore why so many organizations still manage suppliers transactionally, even when it clearly costs more. This is where the real tension begins. Stay with the series. Each chapter connects.